Hi, I'd like to take a moment to introduce you to ASIC's Innovation Hub. If you're involved with a fintech startup, either as an entrepreneur or an advisor, you should know about what ASIC's doing in this space. We want to help the industry flourish in Australia. Jenny Mack has agreed to join me today to explain some of the Hub's features and benefits. Welcome, Jenny.
Thanks, John. Perhaps before we start, you could describe in general terms what the Innovation Hub does?
Well, firstly, ASIC's Innovation Hub's designed to make it easier and faster for fintechs to navigate the regulatory system, and to do so in ways that are particularly relevant to their own business model. Two aspects of the Hub that I really like are that it can help startups make complex things simple, and also it can ensure compliance is built into a business early on. I think both these things have a real potential to save a new business time, money and anxiety. And that can happen in different ways, ranging from our involvement in industry events, through tailored guidance on our website, through to one-on-one informal assistance for eligible companies. We also really like to keep our finger on the pulse internationally, and also consult with industry experts such as yourself, Jenny.
Well, it's great that ASIC is taking a flexible approach. It does that now through waivers and exemptions, and there might be more to come. But right now, fintechs have an opportunity to explore whether or not their business model qualifies for informal assistance, and that includes various types of licences.
We do recognise that experimentation's an important part of the digital economy, and so we try and facilitate that where we can.
And that brings us to another important point. Consumer protection is central to ASIC's role, and that can't be compromised. In my experience, good regulation has significant benefits for both businesses and consumers. Good regulation will bring fintechs greater credibility and trust in the market, just as innovation does. Better outcomes for consumers are often what drives new technology.
Not only do safeguards give important trust and confidence for consumers to invest, but they also safeguard the integrity of the financial system. And let's face it, that's something that's in everyone's interest. Now, to learn more or to sign up for updates, please just visit our website.
Welcome back. I'm here with Matt Simons, and we're going to be talking about the ASIC Innovation Hub and those entities that are eligible to get assistance through the Hub.
Well, Mark, can you just give us a little bit more information about how the ASIC Innovation Hub operates?
Sure. There's a couple of features I probably bring to your attention. The first is just engagement. So we're meeting with lots of entities, whether they be startups or not. The second is really focused on fintech startups. And this is where we're providing informal assistance to them really early on to give them some guidance about the regulatory framework. And the best way for that to happen is for entities to contact us via our dedicated email address.
Well, Mark, every startup I know has got a groundbreaking innovation. So what exactly is the criteria that you're looking for?
Well, there's a number of things. I think firstly, it needs to be a startup. So, i.e., that means not having a license or operating in the financial market or services to date. Secondly, an innovative business model, so let's apply some form of new technology or new kind of service provision for clients or consumers. So the next thing is that the business model needs to have the potential to provide benefits for retail consumers or investors in financial services or products. So, and lastly, what we're looking to the fintech startup to do is look at their business model and think about what kind of issues might be relevant for discussion with ASIC. So one way they could help do that is go to our webpage, look at the guidance that's there, do a bit of preliminary analysis about what they think might be the issues, and that will really help shape the conversation with us.
Okay, that's really helpful. That makes me think of two things. The first is, I imagine having some sharp focused questions is going to make for a more productive meeting.
Absolutely right.
And I think the second would be if I'm in a position to be really clear about what I'm looking for in terms of outcomes from ASIC from that meeting.
That'll be a help too. Thanks, Matt. If you want to know more about eligibility for assistance from ASIC under the Innovation Hub, go to our webpage or send us questions to the dedicated email address. So thank you. It's time to talk about licensing. I'm going to give you a general overview. So who needs a license? A business that provides financial services or credit services are typically the entities that need a license. So what are financial products? It's a broad spectrum. It includes everything from your bank account through to the risky derivatives. In between are investments such as superannuation, shares, and simple and complex managed investment schemes. Then there are risk management products such as general insurance and life insurance. And in the credit world, there is consumer credit to retail consumers. So as you can see, it's a very broad spectrum, and I've only given you some examples. Because remember, there are also some waivers and exemptions. You may not need a license. But if you've determined that a license is the way to go forward, you now need to think about what kind of license. And there's a range of things that you need to consider. That includes a license in relation to what services, which I described earlier, and in relation to what financial products. Importantly, it's also in relation to what clients. Wholesale clients, like institutions, or retail clients, like mums and dads. Once you've got to that point and you've worked out what kind of license, you then need to consider making your application. And what are the key things that matter for making a license application? We have some forms that you need to complete and send to us. What is important for us to understand is your business model, your organisational competence, or the skills and experience of your key personnel, as well as your financial resources. That helps us determine whether to grant or not grant you a licence. Well, clearly there's a lot of things to consider in the licensing process. So I encourage you to look at the ASIC Innovation Hub page where you will see guidance about that framework and the processes. So thank you. I hope ASIC can help you with your business. Welcome back. I'm here with Kim. And now we're going to see whether Kim's ready for an Innovation Hub quiz. All right, Kim. Question number 1. What kind of businesses is the Innovation Hub right for?
All right, well, that's a trick question, Mark, because it's actually available for everyone. But if you want some informal assistance from ASIC or the Innovation Hub, then you're going to have to meet certain criteria.
Spot on. And now question 2. What kind of entities or fintech startups are eligible for informal assistance through the Innovation Hub?
Okay, well, I was hoping you wouldn't ask for detail, but I'll give it a go. So there are a few things, if I remember. The first is you have to be a fintech startup, of course.
Good.
The second is you might need a financial services or credit license, but you don't have one at the moment.
Yep.
The third is that you can clearly explain what your product or service does and who your customers are going to be.
Yep.
The fourth is that it's potentially groundbreaking, so it's innovative, and it's innovative in a way that is good for the market and consumers. And then there's a fifth one, which is a bit of an obligation back on the actual startup, which is you have to have done a bit of research ahead of time to have a sense of what type of license you may need.
Spot on, Kim. You were absolutely right about entities trying to be a little bit prepared and thinking about the issues before them. But that's links to now question 3. So what is it you think that ASIC can do to help fintech startups seeking assistance?
I think the most important thing that ASIC can do is help guide startups through regulatory complexity, right? I know lots of fintech founders who have got great technology but just don't understand how financial services markets are regulated. So if ASIC can do one thing, it's guiding startups through regulatory complexity.
Yep, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to wave magic wands, we're here to provide those pointers.
Fantastic.
And now question 4, Kim. How do you know whether you need a licence or not?
Okay, good question. So I know that if I'm a financial services business or if I provide credit to consumers, I'll most likely need a licence.
Yep.
I know that some intermediaries will need a licence as well, so that's an important one. And then I suppose it's important to know that licences can be tailored to specific activities. So there's lots of different types of licences you can get.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think that just confirms why it's important to talk to us early on, because there may in fact be some exemptions or waivers that could apply too.
Yeah, and you're so right, Mark, because if you're a startup, the actual operating in the fintech industry can be really complex when it comes to regulation. So it's a really great idea to get in there early, have a chat to the Innovation Hub and figure out what you need as early as possible.
Well done, Kim. You've passed with flying colours. I'm going to let you go now.
Actually, Mark, just before you go,
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If I think I'm a potential candidate for Innovation Hub help, what do I do next? What are the next steps?
Well, I think there's a few things you should do. You should go to our webpage and check out the guidance we've got there. Consider that as well as your business model. So after you've done that analysis, think about seeking assistance from us. And that's easy to do. There's a simple form to complete and send it into the dedicated email address. So then we'll get talking.
Awesome. And I have to say, it's so amazing. As a fintech startup founder, it can be really hard to operate in the financial services space. It's great to know ASIC's doing as much as they can to help.
Well, that's the heart of the hub, to try to provide informal assistance and give startups some pointers.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks, Kim. Thanks for taking on the questions. And thank you